The year is 1979. Images flash across the world. Crowds in the streets, chants of revolution filling the air. Iran is ablaze with the fervor of change. The Shah, once seemingly invincible, is overthrown. Ayatollah Khomeini, a figure of religious and political might, returns from exile. He promises a new Iran, free from Western influence, guided by the principles of Islam. For many, it was a moment of hope. The old order was crumbling and a new dawn seemed to be breaking. The revolution promised freedom and prosperity. It vowed to uplift the poor and usher in an era of Islamic justice. Millions had yearned for change, frustrated by inequality and oppression. They embraced the revolution, believing in its potential to transform their lives. But the path to change, as history often shows us, can be fraught with unforeseen consequences. The hope of 1979 would soon give way to a reality far more complex, a reality where the line between liberation and oppression would become increasingly blurred. The revolution's ideals, though potent, would be tested in the fires of governance. The complexities of running a nation, coupled with internal and external pressures, would lead to choices with lasting repercussions. The promise of a brighter future, while still cherished by some, would become a distant echo for many others. And in the years that followed, the world would grapple with the legacy of the Islamic Revolution, a legacy marked by both progress and profound darkness. The year 1988 casts a long shadow over Iran. It was the year a shroud of silence descended, a silence enforced by fear. Thousands of political prisoners, many affiliated with leftist groups, were systematically executed, their crime dissent, their fate sealed by a regime determined to crush any opposition. Among the key figures implicated in these atrocities is Ibrahim Raisi, the current president of Iran. His past, marked by allegations of his role in the death commissions, continues to haunt the nation. Survivors and families of victims live with the pain, their calls for justice largely unanswered. Raisi's ascension to the presidency in 2021 sent shockwaves through Iran and the international community. Human rights groups condemned the election, citing his alleged involvement in crimes against humanity. The United States and European Union expressed deep concern over his human rights record. Yet within Iran, the regime remains steadfast in its control. The judiciary, a powerful force in the Islamic Republic, continues to silence dissent. Journalists, activists, and artists face harassment, imprisonment, and enforced disappearances for daring to challenge the status quo. The weight of 1988 serves as a chilling reminder of the regime's capacity for brutality. The families of the disappeared still seek answers, their pleas for justice echoing through the years. The international community, while aware of the atrocities, grapples with how to hold those responsible accountable. And the Iranian people, carrying the burden of this dark chapter, continue to navigate a present where the past casts a long and oppressive shadow. The Iranian economy, once full of promise, now teeters on the brink. Years of mismanagement, coupled with crippling sanctions, have taken their toll. The Iranian rial has plummeted in value, eroding the savings of ordinary citizens. Inflation has skyrocketed, making basic necessities unaffordable for many. The unemployment rate, particularly among young people, remains stubbornly high. Long lines snake around bakeries, a testament to the scarcity of basic goods. Markets, once bustling with activity, now bear the weight of economic despair. The Iranian people, known for their resilience, struggle to make ends meet. Families grapple with difficult choices, sacrificing education and healthcare to put food on the table. The middle class, once a pillar of Iranian society, has shrunk, its ranks depleted by the unrelenting economic pressure. The government, facing mounting criticism, blames external forces, particularly the United States, for the country's economic woes. Sanctions imposed over Iran's nuclear program and support for regional proxies have undoubtedly exacerbated the economic crisis. However, corruption and economic mismanagement within Iran have also played a significant role in the country's economic downfall. The lack of transparency, coupled with the siphoning off of funds to enrich the elite and fund regional ambitions, has fueled public anger and frustration. The economic hardship has become a tinderbox, igniting sporadic protests across the country. People from all walks of life have taken to the streets, demanding economic justice and an end to corruption. But the government's response has been swift and brutal, using force to quell dissent and maintain its grip on power. Iran's nuclear program has become a focal point of global tension. The country insists its nuclear ambitions are peaceful, focused on energy production and medical research. However, Western powers, particularly the United States and its allies, remain deeply skeptical. They point to Iran's history of concealing aspects of its nuclear program and its development of ballistic missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads as evidence of its true intentions. The 2015 nuclear deal, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, offered a glimmer of hope. This landmark agreement, negotiated between Iran and 6 world powers, China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, imposed strict limits on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for the lifting of sanctions. The deal, however, was short-lived. In 2018, then-President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the JCPOA, reimposing sanctions and further escalating tensions with Iran. The Trump administration argued that the deal was flawed and did not adequately address Iran's ballistic missile program or its support for regional proxies. The Biden administration, upon taking office in 2021, signaled its willingness to rejoin the JCPOA if Iran returned to full compliance with its commitments. However, indirect talks between the United States and Iran have stalled, with both sides blaming the other for the impasse. The future of the Iranian nuclear program remains uncertain, casting a long shadow over the Middle East and beyond. The stakes are high, with the potential for miscalculation and escalation a constant threat. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a diplomatic solution that will avert further conflict and instability in an already volatile region. 45 years after the Islamic Revolution, its legacy continues to shape every aspect of Iranian life. The theocratic system of governance, with its emphasis on Islamic law and the absolute authority of the supreme leader, remains firmly entrenched. The principles of velayat-e-faqih, or guardianship of the Islamic jurist, permeate the political, social and cultural spheres. The image of Ayatollah Khomeini, the architect of the revolution, still adorns walls and billboards across the country, a constant reminder of his enduring influence. The revolution's impact on Iranian society is undeniable. It ushered in a period of profound social and cultural change, transforming the role of women, the education system and the media landscape. The Islamic Republic implemented strict interpretations of Islamic law, mandating the hijab for women, segregating men and women in public spaces, and imposing restrictions on music, art and literature deemed un-Islamic. The revolution also had a profound impact on Iran's foreign policy. The Islamic Republic, founded on the principles of anti-imperialism and resistance to Western hegemony, positioned itself as a champion of the oppressed, particularly in the Muslim world. Iran's support for groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Palestine, while condemned by the West as sponsorship of terrorism, is seen by many within Iran as a principled stance against Israeli aggression and Western imperialism. The revolution's legacy is complex and multifaceted, a tapestry woven from threads of faith, revolution, repression and resilience. It is a legacy that continues to shape the lives of Iranians, both within the country and in the diaspora. And as Iran navigates the challenges of the 21st century, the spectre of the revolution will undoubtedly continue to loom large over its future. Section 6, Whispers of Proxy Wars. The Middle East, a region already ablaze with conflict, faces the spectre of proxy wars fueled by regional rivalries. At the heart of these tensions lies Iran, accused of wielding influence through a network of armed groups and militias. From the battlefields of Syria to the streets of Baghdad, Iran's shadow looms large. Its Quds Force, an elite unit of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, responsible for extraterritorial operations, stands accused of orchestrating a campaign of destabilization across the region. One of the most potent examples of Iran's alleged involvement in proxy warfare is its support for Hezbollah, a powerful Shiite militant group and political party based in Lebanon. Hezbollah, founded in the aftermath of the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in 1982, has evolved into a formidable force, possessing an arsenal of sophisticated rockets and missiles capable of striking deep within Israeli territory. Iran's support for Hezbollah, both financial and military, has been well documented. Hezbollah's arsenal, particularly its precision-guided missiles, is believed to be largely supplied by Iran, bolstering its capabilities in any future conflict with Israel. Iran's involvement in regional conflicts extends beyond Lebanon. The Islamic Republic has also been accused of supporting Houthi rebels in Yemen, Shiite militias in Iraq, and the Assad regime in Syria. These interventions, often clandestine and shrouded in deniability, have fueled instability and exacerbated sectarian tensions across the region. The West, particularly the United States and its allies, views Iran's regional activities with growing alarm, seeing its support for armed groups as a direct threat to their interests and a major obstacle to peace and stability in the Middle East. Section 7, A Generation Rising. A new generation is coming of age in Iran, a generation shaped by the legacy of the revolution, the weight of sanctions and the allure of the outside world. They are tech-savvy, connected through social media, and acutely aware of the limitations imposed upon them. They have never known an Iran without the Islamic Republic, yet they yearn for a different future, one where personal freedoms are respected and economic opportunities abound. This generation, often referred to as the children of the revolution, is increasingly disillusioned with the status quo. They see the corruption that plagues their country, the hypocrisy of some within the ruling elite, and the economic hardship that has become a fact of life. They yearn for a more open and democratic society, one where they can express themselves freely, pursue their dreams, and have a say in their future. They are the doctors and engineers, the artists and activists, the students and entrepreneurs who dare to dream of a different Iran. They are the ones who organize protests, risking arrest and imprisonment to demand their voices be heard. They are the ones who find creative ways to circumvent censorship, using technology to access banned websites and connect with the outside world. They are the ones who refuse to be silenced, who believe that a better future for Iran is possible. This generation, with its energy and idealism, its courage and determination, represents a glimmer of hope for a country grappling with a complex and uncertain future. They are the future of Iran, and their struggle for a more just and democratic society will continue to shape the destiny of their nation. As the world watches with bated breath, one thing is certain: the spirit of resistance and the yearning for freedom burn brightly within the hearts of Iran's youth. Section 8, The Price of Dissent. The path of dissent in Iran is paved with thorns. The Islamic Republic, with its iron grip on power, shows little tolerance for those who dare to challenge its authority. Journalists, activists, artists, and ordinary citizens who raise their voices against the regime often face swift and brutal consequences. Imprisonment, often without fair trial, is a common fate for those who speak truth to power. Torture, both physical and psychological, is routinely used to silence dissent and instill fear. The regime's tools of repression are vast and varied, designed to crush any form of opposition. The Ministry of Intelligence and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, operate extensive surveillance networks, monitoring the activities of citizens and swiftly neutralizing perceived threats. Social media, while offering a platform for expression, is heavily censored, with access to websites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube restricted. Those who attempt to circumvent these restrictions risk arrest and prosecution. The regime's crackdown on dissent has intensified in recent years, particularly in the aftermath of the disputed 2009 presidential election and the wave of protests that followed. The government's response to the protests, dubbed the Green Movement, was swift and brutal. Security forces opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing dozens and arresting thousands. The regime also targeted journalists, bloggers, and activists, accusing them of inciting unrest and spreading propaganda against the system. Despite the risks, many Iranians continue to raise their voices in defiance, demanding their fundamental rights and freedoms. They do so at great personal risk, knowing that their actions could lead to imprisonment, torture, or even death. Their courage and determination serve as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Iranian people, a people who have long endured oppression yet refuse to be silenced. Section 9. Echoes of Hope. Despite the darkness, echoes of hope reverberate throughout Iran. The spirit of the Iranian people, their resilience forged over millennia, remains unbroken. In the face of oppression, they find ways to resist, to express themselves, and to keep the flame of hope alive. In the privacy of their homes, they gather to discuss politics, share forbidden books, and listen to banned music. In the bustling bazaars and cafes, whispers of dissent circulate, challenging the official narrative. Underground art scenes flourish, providing a space for artists to explore themes of freedom, identity, and social justice. The internet, though heavily censored, provides a lifeline to the outside world, allowing Iranians to connect with each other and share their stories with a global audience. Despite the restrictions they face, Iranians are finding ways to carve out spaces for free expression and critical thought. The regime, despite its best efforts, cannot entirely extinguish the thirst for freedom and democracy. The yearning for a better future, a future where human rights are respected and the voices of the people are heard, burns brightly in the hearts of many Iranians. The international community, while grappling with how to engage with Iran, must stand in solidarity with the Iranian people, amplifying their voices and supporting their aspirations for a more just and democratic future. The struggle for freedom and human rights in Iran is a reminder that the fight for democracy is a universal one, transcending borders and ideologies. It is a fight that demands our attention, our support, and our unwavering commitment to the principles of human dignity and freedom for all. For in the echoes of hope, we find the strength to continue the struggle, knowing that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit yearns for light, for freedom, and for a better tomorrow.